So when I was in high school, I enjoyed being in school, being with my friends, coming home, chatting with friends on Skype or even just being alone. While this whole time being a consumerist super fan for my video game and anime backlog, I was a completionist through and through for those two things. And when I got to college, at first, I continued that lifestyle. At this point, more of my friends were actually getting into those hobbies, but I couldn't help but leave the hobby because for a period of a few years, I took fun hobby so seriously that managing of a backlog and following all the new releases, I started to see the sameness across these industries and even forcing myself to play and watch these titles that I didn't even find enjoyment in. I had identified with this lifestyle, though, at this point so much that I could just continue doing it. I would be watching the episode progress bar painfully, slowly scrub its way through to the end just so I could mark the episode complete in the backlog. And even then, I still kept doing it because it was the only identity that I knew. The only thing that I ever really strived for as like a young person at this point. And I didn't really care about being an incredibly good student in school or making new friends or trying to do anything new at all. It was just all so comfortable. And at this point, I now was beginning to feel this like lackluster feeling in my current identity, but I had no reason to strive for anything else. So I get to college, and my brain, for the first time, in a sense, propelled me to want something tangible. So I started crushing on a stranger, a girl I had never spoken to. I had done this in high school, and I felt content never speaking to these girls usually. I could just enjoy sitting in the infatuation and the daydream and not do anything about it, and it was okay. And while couples were hooking up weirdly as early as middle school in my town, I always thought I wanted to eventually be married. I didn't want that middle school experience, but I did want to be married. But what was I going to do with a girl in middle school or even high school, be each other's best friends, hold hands, grow up together? It was admittedly cute and all to me, but I didn't want it enough to make it real. I only wanted it enough to enjoy that escapism infatuation alone. I didn't want to confront it, right? So this time I'm in college and I felt like, for whatever reason, that I wanted to speak to this stranger, but I had no excuse to actually speak with her other than having this feeling towards her. And I didn't want her to see that secret in me. I didn't want her to see that I was someone who secretly daydreamed of us together. It sounded unreasonable, like it's psycho to want someone so much given we were both strangers to one another. So I'm holding this strange paradox in my head, and I kept sitting near her ready to say hello or ask her a question. But while that all sounds normal, just talking to somebody, saying something in my mind at the time exposed my incentive. She'd know my unreasonable psycho motive, thus defeating me making a connection in the first place. So I went the whole semester enjoying the daydream and never stepping out of it, but trying class after class after class to step out of the daydream and into reality. But the semester ended. I never spoke to her, and I felt bad about it. I felt like I wanted to change as a person. It wasn't a lack of confidence. It was me not liking my actual motives or my actual incentives. I wanted to be someone entirely different. I didn't want to become confident in the motive of someone who can flirt with a stranger he daydreams about. That's just weird. I wanted to become somebody who didn't infatuate over strangers and play movies about them in my head in the first place. I didn't know what I was running towards, but I knew what I wanted to run from. I started trying to think of ways to really fill this void of, what I didn't want to be and what could I be instead. But for a while, for like a month or two, I kept living the same escapism lifestyle because, again, it was just what I knew. But then after some time, things were able to turn around. So I'm in my next semester. I've got a philosophy professor, and he puts this 2x2 decision tree square up on the board, and I'll put that on screen. And basically what it says is there's two questions. One is your brain has reached maximum capacity, yes or no, and then I know everything, yes or no. And if you feel your brain has reached maximum capacity and you can't learn new things, you won't grow. And if you feel you know everything, you won't grow. So here I am ready to like have something good to latch onto, to change myself. I'm looking to be different. And I'm reading this and I'm thinking, okay, I have to believe I can grow. Good. Okay. I'm already confident that I can grow and I won't be over capacity. I just don't know where to start. And then when I start, I can't get too confident or prideful that I stagnate myself. So I'll have to watch out for that. So I'm thinking, okay, cool, good. But still, where do I start? And so then we start learning about Socrates. And Socrates said, an unexamined life is not worth living. And question everything. And somehow, I don't know how, but those words really resonated with me. And I took those words home with me. And around that same time, I learned what meditation was from another professor. And initially, I was like, ironically, right, this whole escapism thing, I was initially interested in meditation's ability to increase the likelihood of lucid dreaming. So I could do whatever I want in my dreams. I just thought it was neat at the time. More escapism-Maxxing. But meditation is used by most folks to gain self-awareness and focus by spending time watching your thoughts, seeing them pop up, and choosing in that moment to discard those thoughts, right? So training you to think about thoughts by choice and not just because you started thinking about something without noticing based on your feelings or instinct and getting led down a rabbit hole of thoughts until you ended up at a conclusion and now you're making life decisions without that extra level of self-awareness. So when I started observing everything that I did and really questioning everything like Socrates, while also doing meditation practice that trains your self-awareness, my self-awareness just shot through the ceiling. It was like I was a different person. I went from binging media to bringing the mindset of weeding out these things in my life, things I didn't like. And for the first time, I'm noticing these things I didn't like, and I'm now able to confront them for the first time. So, for example, I'm noticing my clothing choices were childish, allowed me to confront dressing like an adult. I'm noticing how sedentary I was, allowing me to confront that and start going to the gym and working out. Noticing how little I knew, especially when considering how I didn't know everything, right? So that allowed me to confront that. And now suddenly I'm reading books and interested in learning life skills, doing well in school, and thinking about, how can I apply all this to like a good job and a good life in general. The whole thing was generally a good time in my life. I felt like I was moving so fast that I woke up one morning and I didn't even recognize my own self. I just remember that morning so distinctly because it was a distinct moment. But it was definitely just the beginning of something good. And since then, it hasn't been all butterflies and daisies. My life has hit me with a lot of surprises. Some are blessings, some were curveballs, terrible, terrible curveballs. But overall, though, I just want to put this out there because I'm really grateful to have been given that moment in my life. And I hope that sharing it can have an impact on other folks too. It was easy to engage in escapism, or in my case, as a young person, never even enter the building of life as it was unfolding before me. Now with For You algorithms, AI experiences curated for exactly what you want at exactly the moment you want it, and whatever comes next, I can only imagine how it will be to never examine your thoughts, to never ask questions, and to walk through life never confronting what you actually care about confronting. I mean, for some people, I talk to them about this, and I know they're like, well, obviously I asked questions that I wanted to ask, and I think about my own thoughts, and I can hear them, and I actually confront things in my life. But I don't know. I admit, it was not a experience that I had. I had the experience of being in a state where I wasn't able to do those things, and then I was. So That being said, let me know if any of you had a similar experience in your lives, or if sharing this has you thinking any differently today. But otherwise, thanks for hearing me out.